Hey, welcome to another edition of Late Night with Larry. I'm here with my co-host, Vince. Vince, as usual, give him a shout out.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Glad to be back in the Larry D studios.
That's right. And on today's episode, we're just going to talk about a few things that we've experienced lately that we can't make heads or tails of it. And it's actually has me stumped.
Yeah. But we'll take you back to the beginning,
Right.
where it all started, because last episode I mentioned that we might have a new spot to go squatching, and
Right.
that spot is the Sandia Mountains to the east of Albuquerque. Now, I've heard of stories, and there's one college professor out of Gallup that took his class on an expedition, and he got in trouble because he used $1,000 of the university's money, which ain't nothing.
Right.
But there was a lot of, people make a big stink about nothing these days. But there was a lot of controversy, and I guess he ended up having to pay it back or something.
Right.
But he's one of the speakers when we went to the Bigfoot festival in the Jemez Springs.
Right.
Now, he's a pretty good guy. I liked what he had to say. He had some good stories. He even had some prints. And Albuquerque is on the west side of the Sandias. So when we hear stories about Sasquatch in the Sandias, we're like, no way, because it's really not that thick, and there's really nothing there. You know, I've hiked it. It's more high desert.
Right.
But it was about a week ago. We took a ride up there. We went around the back end of on the east side of the Sandias.
The mountain.
Yeah, and it's a totally different story over there.
It is, and the forest is thick, and we went about midnight, and we said we're going to take. Well, my brother had already been up there, and I said, well, let's take a ride up there now, and it was about midnight that we made our way up there, and as we were traveling up the mountain to get to the peak, I agree. There's a lot of thick forest there, and it can be squatchy.
Right, in some parts it's actually thicker than it is in the
Jemez.
In the Jemez, yeah. And I got on the internet a little bit, tried to do some research. I didn't have a whole lot of time because of work, and I had to go out of town. But they have found prints. They say they found scat. Now that's I'm not sure about that. How do you know it's Bigfoot scat? How do you know it's not bear scat?
Right.
But they said they have found things like that, and footprints was a big thing. And I guess there have been some eyewitness accounts.
Yeah, and see, I have never heard of eyewitness accounts there. Now, I did hear, and I don't know if it was in the Sandias, but I did hear that up in the cliff area that when they were doing the Finding Bigfoot episodes and whatnot, they did find like habitation spots where they found like where they bed down.
Right.
And I took that with a grain of salt because from the Albuquerque side, it's all just desert mountain, and you're like, well, we do have some forest on that side, but it's not as thick as the east side of the mountain.
Right. Yeah.
And I would say it's thick because of the way the wind patterns are. The moisture gets blown up and over, and that's why they always get snow and rain, and we don't.
Right. Now, if you follow this, the Sandia Mountains, it's once you get out of Albuquerque, you start going up in elevation. It starts getting thick right away. You turn left at a town called Tijeras, and if you turn right, there's another mountain range there called the Manzano Mountains, and there's some thick forest there also.
Right.
It kind of runs all the way south. I don't know how far it goes, but I don't know. Maybe they use that to pass through. I'm not sure they stay there permanently, but definitely a pass through. That we've seen deer. They have plenty of nuts, berries.
Right. No, they have the habitat to where they could survive, but I just never really looked at the east side.
Right, we had never been there before.
I just didn't. But now that we have went there, it does make sense. Now, we went there because we know someone that was driving that area, and they didn't have a Squatch sighting. They supposedly had an alien sighting.
Right, they were there's an area up there. If you take that road, it takes you to a small town of Madrid or Madrid, depending on how you want to pronounce it.
Right.
If you've seen the movie Wild Hogs, that's where it was filmed. But all around there's good hiking, and this individual usually goes hiking there. Now, what happened? He had a pet guinea pig that passed away, so he wanted to go bury it in the mountains on his favorite hiking trail. So he was going up there. He went up there at night after he got off work, and once he got close to where he hikes, he said he saw something. And it was strange because he said, like, the legs and the head were illuminated, but you couldn't really see the torso. And he thinks it was an alien. He's convinced. He knows he saw something, but just from what he saw, he thinks it's an alien. He's not real sure, but he's real sure he saw something.
Right. And I'm going to have to take his word for it because I wasn't there. And, you know, most people that do say they see things, they genuinely do, whether it's in their mind or it's true. Now, we bring this up because we were driving that same road and we thought, well, maybe we'll see something similar. Now, we did get to the small town of Madrid, however you want to say it.
Okay, now by this time it's like 2, almost 3 o'clock in the morning.
It was around 2 in the morning.
We made a trip up to the thick forest, and it's still pretty foresty up on the mountains, but the road we travel is kind of in a valley, so it's more high desert. And right when we got into probably the city limits of Madrid, right?
Right, yes. So we were, of course, I'm driving, and we were doing about 65 miles an hour just before we enter into the city. And we both saw what we thought was a huge dog run in front of my truck. Here's the kicker. We both saw the hair that came up to the top of my grill, but it was so close, we both thought, oh my God, I hit it. But we didn't hear a thud, or we didn't feel like we ran over anything. And when I checked my truck, there was nothing. There was no damage, there was no hair, there was no blood. So we can't figure out what we saw, but we both know we saw something, and we're not crazy because we both saw the same thing. Only there's no evidence showing that we hit something.
Right.
But going as fast as we did, and it ran out in front of us so fast, there's no way we could have missed it. We should have hit it.
Right. It darted out, and my initial thought was it had the look. It seemed a little mangy, like a coyote would be.
Right.
And I thought a coyote, but we started talking and thinking, and it was way too big to be a coyote because my brother has a big truck. It's a Tundra. It's a pretty high truck.
It's a 4x4 Tundra.
And we could see the hair on the back right above your hood. We could see it right in front of the truck, like
so close
when we were supposed to make impact.
Right.
Now, I didn't see anything go on the right side of me because I was on the passenger side. Nothing exited that way. Now, it was too big to duck down and not hit anything.
There's no way it could have ducked down.
It didn't duck down because we saw the hair.
Right. It was running across. And this is what we can't figure out. What was it? I mean, it was moving so fast, but yet we both caught a real quick glimpse of the hair as it was moving back. And when we drove on, I told my brother, oh shit, I think we hit something. But we didn't, because we thought about it. We're like, wait a minute, there was no thud, or we didn't feel the tires move. Like, you know, if you've ever hit a dog crossing the road, you know.
Or even something as small as a rabbit.
Right.
You know.
You hear it. You hear the thud and the cry, but there was...
And when I saw it run out in front of us, I flinched and cringed, getting ready for the impact.
Right.
Because if you ever hit a dog, it's not fun because you hear the dog scream. It's no fun,
Yeah, it's, of course, you don't mean to. Some of these animals just run out in front of you, and you never do it intentionally. But for what happened that night, we both don't know. All we know is we saw hair rise above, a little above my hood, and it was moving fast. Now, when we talked about it, we both agreed that, yeah, I saw it out of my peripheral vision coming fast, and we both caught a real quick glimpse of the hair passing by the hood.
Right, and I guess it was perfect timing because I was talking to you. We're still talking about, you know, the possibility of Sasquatch in the Sandias, and I was kind of facing toward him, and we were talking, and I saw it run out. He had his eyes on the road. He saw it out of the corner of his eye, but I seen it dart. It was moving fast too.
Yes, it was, and I don't know why we didn't hit it.
Yeah, that was
what. To this day, we're calling it the ghost dog because I can't explain it.
Right. Now, we drove all the way up to Santa Fe, and my first initial thought was, check your truck, make sure you didn't, you know, something that big is going to mess up your truck.
Oh, it definitely would have. Even a dog would have messed up my bumper or something.
Right.
I would have had some damage done to it.
Right.
But there was nothing. I even looked under the wheel well, everything. There was nothing.
Right. And like he said, we never heard or felt any kind of impact. So that was kind of strange.
I've been thinking about it since it happened, and I'm not going to let myself go crazy, but I just don't know what it was. I don't. And like we're telling you people, when people say they see something, you could either believe them or not.
Right.
Now, I know we weren't hallucinating because we both saw the same thing and we agreed upon it.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was.
Right. And, you know, we were in a right frame of mind because we're out driving.
Right.
Maybe a little fatigued because, you know, we're up in the middle of the night cruising around looking for cryptids and ghosts or aliens so we could bring you the rest of the story.
That's right. And, we were just making our rounds for two things. We were talking about it is squatchy up near the crest. And
right.
Then we said, well, let's take a ride toward Madrid and see if we could see the alien or whatnot. And now we didn't see an alien, but we can't explain what we saw.
Right. Now, we went up there. I've been on that road before. I ride a motorcycle. I've been out to Madrid several times. My brother's never been back on that road. That's why we were taking it.
That's right.
And if you want to see something, what better time than 3 a.m?
That's right. And, most sightings, some people do have daytime sightings, but most sightings for the paranormal happen at night.
Right.
Why that is, I don't know, but I can only tell you, our listeners out there, that we did have a paranormal sighting and we have to call it that because we saw something, but yet we didn't have a physical impact with it when we should have.
Right, and there was no damage. Now, we talked about this for about a week, back and forth, retracing the steps before we decided it's got to be paranormal.
Right. And we just can't explain it.
Right.
So if any of you live in this area that we're talking about and you've experienced the same thing, hey, reach out to us. And, I usually give my email at beginning of the episode, but I'm going to give it now, and it's latenightwithlarry55@gmail.com. Let us know if you've seen anything. And while you're there, hit the subscribe button.
Right, hit it. And also a little reminder, we're on YouTube now, and if you've seen our first really podcast on there.
That's right.
We're starting to upload video. We're still pretty new with that, so we're experimenting.
Right.
We want to get better, and so you guys have the full experience.
We will get better, and if you want to see most of the uploads on YouTube, they're audio. And you could search it for Late Night with Larry episode 1. It'll come up that way because there's a few late nights that'll get commingled and you'll have to search. But if you want to see the video, do Late Night with Larry episode 54. And that'll bring you up some real nice video footage of the Jemez Mountains while we talk about our
journey.
Our journey,
yeah.
That's right. And I think you'll find that interesting. So as when you're on the YouTube as well, hit subscribe.
Right. But getting back to that ghost dog.
Yes.
I just can't explain it any other way because We both saw it plain as day, and it was huge. And I was thinking, it was about the size of probably a timber wolf or something.
It had to be the size of a wolf. Now, for any of you that have stood by a Toyota Tundra, the grill, I'm 5'8", and the grill comes up to my chest.
Right. Now, you have some pretty big dogs, but they wouldn't stand that high.
I'd have to put both my dogs. My dogs would have to be on top of each other's shoulders running to be that big.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was, man.
Now, we were cruising, and I seen it come out just the blink of an eye, and it was in front of us that fast.
It happened so fast, but yet I saw the hair, and to me, I saw like a reddish orange hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, that brings me back to another point. We joked about this a little bit at the time, but a lot of people who get into accidents on the highway, especially truckers, they say a black dog runs in front of them.
That's right.
You've heard the story of the black dog?
Right.
We have a cousin in Phoenix. He was in the Marine Corps. I believe he was here on leave going back. He actually rolled his car, and he said he was avoiding a black dog in the road.
Right.
So maybe we got the white dog here in New Mexico.
Well, it wasn't white. It had reddish brown hair.
Yeah, well, in the lights, you just see a lighter color. And
I did. And actually, it happened so fast, I don't even know if I'm being correct. I'm just telling you what my vision caught.
Right.
Because it was fast. It just happened so fast.
Yeah, and I remember just kind of bracing for impact, and there was nothing.
Right, and as I saw it go across the top of my hood, I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, I know you even hit the brakes a little bit, but
I did.
it was kind of too late when you did.
It was too late.
It was after the fact.
It was after the fact, but we hit nothing.
Right.
And I don't know an animal that could move that fast.
Right. Yeah, it was quick because we were doing the speed limit, but it's a highway. We're trucking.
Yeah, we're cooking along.
Yeah, but I don't know. We drove into Santa Fe 3 a.m, got us some all-sup burritos, and contemplated what we saw.
That's right. Now that's kind of what we do on our days off. Is we
explore.
We go out there and we're exploring. We're trying to bring some truth to you, to let you know if we see anything.
Right. Now, field research is our favorite thing.
That's right.
And that's what prompted my brother to come up with the idea to start a podcast, because we've been going to the Jemez for years. Now, all the way up, when we're there, and all the way back, we could just go back and forth about any issue. We'll talk for hours straight with no problem about different topics. And
right.
And he said we should just do a podcast, because we obviously have a lot to talk about. I don't know if we're full of hot air or what, but we talk about things that we like, like Sasquatch or paranormal, aliens, Southwest folklore, because it's near and dear to our heart, and we've experienced a lot of it.
That's right.
But he said we do enough talking about it. We just gotta focus on one subject at a time, and hey, we got a podcast going.
And my thing is, let's do a podcast. Let's share our stories, and maybe there are people out there that are listeners and they have a similar story, and share it with us.
Right.
Right.
There's got to be people in our area who've experienced similar things.
And we're not going to judge you. You don't even have to tell us your real name. Now, I will say this. We've been telling you that soon we'll have the call-in capability. So I'm thinking by the end of October, we'll be able to take 1 to 2 callers at a time.
Yes. Now, getting back to the field research part, the last podcast we did, when my brother uploaded some footage on YouTube, that was our last journey. We were just out where we always look for new forest roads, somewhere to explore. We look for places off the beaten path.
That's right.
Because if the less human contact, the better our chances are of experiencing something.
That's right.
And we definitely found some places where there's no way in or out without a 4-wheel drive vehicle.
Now, that brings me up to another subject. So people say, like, we're out there, we're cruising, we're looking, we want to see. Now, people say that they find us, we don't find them. And I just recently heard someone say that once me and you, enter the forest, if they're around, and now I don't know if this is true, no one knows if it's true, that they automatically know that we've entered their territory.
They could sense it.
They sense it, and they know what we're there for.
Right.
So if our intentions are malicious, they'll know it and they'll avoid us. How true that is, that's just another theory that was thrown out there. And I don't know.
Right. Now, I believe what we've been doing, because we go back to the same spot where I had my encounter.
Right.
Now, they call it habituation, where we go to the same spot that maybe they pass through, and little by little they get used to us being there.
Right.
So I think they are used to it. I think they do know who we are, because I'd say at least 90% of the time we have some kind of experience, sound, things being thrown.
Right.
Now, hopefully, as time goes by, they'll get closer. Now, they have been closer. Like, my first experience, I was within 20, 30 yards.
Right.
Now, with you, you've heard some screams that were pretty up close, too.
Heard some screams, and I will always go back to the bottle that we heard got thrown, and there was no one else out there but us.
Right, but there was a scream when you contemplated leaving.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean.
Yeah, but I think they already know who we are, why we're there. They know we're not there to hurt them.
No, and that if they truly know our intentions, then they just know that I want a visual, so I could say yes.
Not only that, we just want more knowledge.
That's it.
Now, and I believe that's why every time we go there, maybe they give us a little nugget.
And that's fine.
Like the last time with the gas can or whatever it was. Something was carrying a can around.
And you know what? There's another thing that people probably think these guys are making up stories. But no, I mean, we know what we heard.
And we know what we see. We see the signs. There's trees blocking the road sometimes that... These trees, there's no stump, there's no uprooted roots. These trees were placed there.
Well, and I uploaded that footage of the tree hanging upside down, where they bent the little tree over,
and they hung a branch from there.
They hung a dead branch upside down.
Now we're not talking a small branch.
No. So if you go check out on YouTube, Late Night with Larry, episode 54, you'll see where I filmed it, and I can't explain that. Now, if you look at the tree, and you look what's surrounding it, it's up high. And now, if someone's going to prank us, they're going to need a ladder. They're going to have to take a ladder to the forest to do that.
And that branch wasn't small.
No, it wasn't.
Now, we went further back on that road, and we had pretty much to be in full-whole drive all the time.
It was rough.
And even back there... Now, I'm not saying the trees were pushed over, but that's what it sure looked like to me, because we had to veer off the road to go around it. And we also found a pile of bones.
We did. And we didn't get out and go investigate, but I told my brother there's bones right over there.
Now, if an animal dies, his skeleton... And usually the forest will reclaim it pretty quick, but they're laid out pretty much the way they lay. Right. These bones were piled up.
Yeah, they were.
Now we're talking about back in the deep woods where you need a good full-whole drive, because there was times where we were slipping and stuff. And
that's why we got so far. I told my brother, I said, put it in four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
I said, we're slipping, and the traction controls kicking, and I said, put it in four-wheel drive, man.
Now, we didn't stop. We seen a lot of signs a lot of the way, but we didn't stop because we did not even know where this road led.
Right. This was uncharted territory for us.
Right, and uncharted for a lot of people, because there wasn't a whole lot of tracks, but that tree that was blocking the road, that was pretty fresh, because there was no tracks going around it.
Yep, and you could just tell that no one's been back on that road. Probably not even the Forest Service for a while, because it was just rugged.
Yeah. But those are the kind of areas we look for to do research, because I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty damn scary back there, especially once that sun goes down.
Right, and that's, we talked about that. We said if you want to test your manhood, drive this road at night. Now a lot of people be like, "Oh, I'll do it." Yeah, that's what you say till the sun goes down.
Yeah, no, it's creepy. Now, I have done it, but I've only been back as far as where we go camping. But even that, when you're by yourself, that's creepy as hell.
Yep.
I've been back there at 2, 3 in the morning all alone. And you got to get out and do whatever you do. And I'm not gonna lie, I was freaked out a little bit at that time. Like, I'm out of here. I'll wait till my brother's off.
Right, and I did say we need to drive that road at night. Now, when we drive it at night, we're going to keep it in 4-wheel drive the whole time.
Right. Now, it wouldn't be a bad idea. I have a winch we could hook to the front end and take with us just in case.
Right, and here's the thing. If Squatches do what, like, some people have bad experiences and they attack their cars, or slap them and confront them, there's nothing we could do, because on that road we cannot get out fast. We're gonna have to sit there, grin and bear it, and hope for the best.
Right, and that brought to mind the story of Wes from Sasquatch Chronicles. If anyone's familiar with his story, they went in, they had them in front of them, and there was no place to turn around, so they had to do some backing up, and we would be in a similar situation.
We definitely would. And now Wes and Woody's story, they were in a position to where they had to sit and wait it out, and it terrified them. And if that were to happen to us on that road,
we'd be in the same situation.
It'd be the same situation.
Right. Now, I always carry a side piece when I go to the forest, but if there's more than one, you don't want to start something that you can't finish.
Well, and Wes and Woody thought that there was one, but then another one popped out.
Right.
And then they heard some in the back. They thought they were being flanked, like they could, out of peripheral vision, one ran behind them, and then one popped out right in the middle of the road, and then a smaller one, which they think was the female, and they just, I guess, as Ron Moorhead would say, they displayed them.
Right, they did a display.
And then they left, and that's when Wes told his brother Woody, he said, "We're out of here."
Right. Now, taking a few steps back to what you said about the theory is that once you enter the forest, they know why you're there and stuff, and hopefully they know we're just there doing research. We want to know about them. So if we're ever in that situation, hopefully we're okay, because we've been in situations where we've heard them and we're vulnerable right there in our tents, and if they wanted us, they could have taken us long ago.
They could have, because we're basically meat wrapped up in a nylon.
We're basically a giant all-subs burrito.
That's right. So it is possible, but
that's not going to discourage us. We're going to go because maybe it's a bad thing. They say curiosity killed the cat, but we got that curiosity, and my brother's heard things, I've heard things, I've seen the eye shine. They're so close, but we still thirst for knowledge.
Right. I just want to know. I mean, for me, part of knowing is getting that first initial sighting.
Right.
That 5-second sighting where I could focus, my brain could process it, and I could say, "Wow, okay."
Now, we both pretty much know. We just want visual confirmation.
That's it. I want visual confirmation.
And when we find out, you could be sure we're going to tell you.
Well, you will know.
Yeah, because our very next podcast will be shaking and trembling.
We may even cry a little bit.
Yeah, but you'll see it on YouTube.
That's right. But anyway, tonight, that's what we wanted to share with you. We hope you enjoyed it. And like we said, if you've had an experience, reach out to us. We'll now be able to have you call in and share your story with us. Maybe you got a unique story that everyone wants to hear, and don't be afraid. I mean, this subject and this topic is getting acceptance more and more
Yes.
and more.
Right. And even if you don't want to, put your name out there or even be on, but we would love to share your story. If you write it down for us, email it to us. You give us permission, we'll share it for you.
Yeah. And if you want to call in, let us know.
Yep. We'd love to hear from you. Even if you just want to call in and say, hey, what's up? I like what you guys are doing, or I think you guys are both clowns. Whatever you want to tell us.
Right, whatever. And actually, we do need some feedback, people.
We've gotten some feedback, not a whole lot. It's all been positive. We just, we want more. We know you guys are listening. We just give us a shout out. Say, hey, what's up?
That's right. Anyway, thanks for listening tonight. And until next time,
Peace.
be cool.